So nice to see a full house and some faces that I don't see that often. Very nice. We are going to start with our prayer, and Fernandinha will do that for us tonight.
Dear Master, thank you so much for this lovely day, for this wonderful opportunity to be here in our group today, having overcome our obstacles. We thank you for this visit, for Mauricio's visit, for his work, for his very important work. We send the best vibrations to him, and we want to have our minds and hearts very open and receptive to these lessons, but most of all, we want to take every opportunity to put in practice what we learn here today, helping others, serving God, contributing to the world. That is our true mission here, improving our lives, making progress, and sharing these lessons with other people. Thank you so much, and be with us today and always. So be it.
So be it.
So our last event with our friend Mauricio tonight, we enjoyed his visit over the weekend, and very glad that he could stay a little longer to bring another lesson to us. So Mauricio, for those who are not here to be introduced to him before, was born in Niterói, Rio de Janeiro, and was raised in Brasília, where he started his Spiritist education at the Spiritist group Irmão Estevão. Mauricio moved to the United States in 1988, and in 1992 he founded the Spiritist Society of Palm Beach, which he still presides today. Mauricio was also the Vice President of the Spiritist Federation of Florida, and is currently the President of the United States Spiritist Council. Professionally, he has been in the undersea telecommunications field for the past 15 years, and is the co-owner of an air conditioning company. So we want to thank Mauricio for this evening. We want to send him the best vibrations, embrace him well with our good thoughts, and gratitude for him to be here with us, and asking the spiritual friends to be with him at this message tonight. Mauricio Cisneiros.
Hello everybody. It is always a very, very humble experience to be speaking at different Spiritist centers. Today it's also a very humble opportunity, but also a very happy one, because I really feel at home. I have so many great friends in this place, and I really do feel at home. I feel just like as if I was at our Spiritist Center in Boca Raton. So today we will talk not only about an important theme in our lives as individuals, human beings, spiritual beings, but we will talk about the most important topic for all of us, for humanity in general, for spiritual beings in general, for life in the universe in general. The most important topic. The whole universe is under a very divine organization. Everything in the universe is well planned. Chance and luck are merely human, materialistic concepts. They do not exist. Everything that happens in life has a meaning. Everything that takes place in the universe is an effect that was caused because there was a cause that caused the effect. Everything's planned. Nothing happens because it just happens. God is all planning, is all perfect, is all knowledge, and is all love. And us as spiritual beings, we, believe it or not, we are in control of everything as long as we believe it to be, and as long as we want to be in control, and as long as we do what it takes to be in control of everything. When we study the Spirit's book, when we study Allan Kardec's codification, we begin to realize that even the movement of planets, galaxies, everything that happens in this world and in other worlds take place because there are spirits who are, through their thoughts, through the power and the energy of their inner beings, making those things happen. Because there are only three things in the whole universe. One of them is God. The other two are the Spirit, which is us, and matter. And matter is really just energy. Matter only does what we command it to do. Period. Nothing else. So as long as we work within the span of the divine laws of God, and we can understand these laws by reading the third part of the Spirit's book. There's 11 chapters describing in detail these divine laws. As long as we live within these divine laws, we can control our destinies, and we can control what our world and what the universe is. This message of inner power, of control that we as spirits in a spiritual community are, has been brought to us on earth forever and ever, since we understand ourselves as humanity. The problem is, we decide and we choose not to really believe in it, and we find that it's kind of hard to use this power because it takes effort. It takes a lot of work. Because it is the power based on love, the practice of love. And it's kind of hard to practice love all the time, as we're going to see at the end of this talk. So let's see how this knowledge has been divulged to us throughout history. Not only in this planet, all around the universe, in all other globes and planets that are inhabited, but we're going to concentrate ourselves in our history today. When we go back 6,000 years ago, we see the first knowledge regards religious thinking appearing before our humanity. Hinduism, which has many important marks, this religion or creed, all the way up through 78 after Christ, has many different important marks. Now, there are many times that spiritual guides have reincarnated, spiritual missionaries have reincarnated and brought us very important revelations. Some bigger, some smaller, all of them, as we're going to see some of them, bringing the same message of inner power that we all have. Hinduism, it's kind of a complex knowledge-based creed. The most important thing to know about Hinduism is that everything goes back to the knowledge of cause and effect. However I utilize my inner power, that will cause an effect in my life and in the life of those surrounding me. So Hinduism already working to that inner power, logic, existent in the spirit. We go down in history, we're going down because up would be from Christ and up. So we're going down, and in 1400, we see Moses. So the message, the most important message Moses brings us is what? What is it? The Ten Commandments. What is the Ten Commandments? What are they talking about? The Ten Commandments are a direct message to us, telling us, you have the power within you. So it tells us, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this, and that, and so on and so forth. It's a direct message of, you don't do this, me don't do this, right? Direct message to what? To the Spirit, telling us, if we don't do those things, we will maintain ourselves within the divine laws of the universe, and we will then be acting with and upon the law of love. And we will then find happiness, and we will then be very powerful individuals. We go down the road, 623, and we find Buddha. Another kind of complex creed, religion, and summarizing it, if we study about Buddhism, we will see that they concentrate all of their understanding in the 8 folders path. In this path, you see 8 very simple laws that we should follow, or Buddhists should follow. Basically, they tell you, if you use the right intention, if you use the right effort, if you use the right vision, and it just keeps on going, you will be a very powerful individual, and you will be able to control yourself and your life, and you will be able to achieve happiness through the use of your own power, your own vision, your own intention, your own ability to accomplish things. 8 folders path, right? We go down in history, 400, and we find who? Another missionary, another spirit of light who brings us a wonderful message. And he was what was the doctrine of Socrates, and later on divulged very much by Plato, based on? Anybody remembers? I know you guys know. You're just nervous. It was based... Thank you. Somebody said it. Is that how you spell it? I don't know.
Myself, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Know thyself. The message that for hundreds of years and until today still echoes in our minds and our hearts. So with that message, Socrates and Plato and so on told us, continue to tell us, if we really begin to know ourselves and take time to know ourselves, also remembering what André Luiz keeps on telling us when he is in the lower zones in the book Nosso Lar, when he is suffering, he keeps on telling himself, if I had only thought about the wrong things I was doing in life, if I had only spent 1 minute of my day thinking about my actions and my thoughts, I would not be in this condition now. So that comes from way back there, know thyself. There's no spiritual evolution without self-examination. We go down to an individual that took this message a step up from what we had seen before. Because all of these individuals and all these revelations were telling us what to do. But Jesus not only told us what to do, He showed us living like we are without needing to reincarnate here, because enlightened beings do not need to reincarnate on earth or live here. They only come here to help us. He not only talked about it, but He lived it. He lived the Know Thyself message. He lived the message of practice the love that is within you, and you will be not only a powerful individual, but a loving and a happy individual. What exactly tells us that Jesus was this wonderful, enlightened being, the most enlightened being that has ever stepped on earth, ever reincarnated on earth? One of the most wonderful passages I know and I feel about the gospel, that is in the gospel, is when He was talking to a whole bunch of people, like today, a whole assembly, and some people come over and tell Him, your mother and your brothers are here. What did He reply? Anybody remembers?
Who are my mother and my brothers?
Who are my mother and who are my brothers? Who is my mother and who are my brothers, right? That's what He said. Now, He didn't only say that to say it. He didn't only say that to leave us a message. That is exactly the way spiritual beings at His evolutionary level are feeling. That's how they see other people. That's how they see everybody. The same love that I feel for my 13-year-old daughter, and that you feel for your mothers, your fathers, your sons, your kids, that is the love spiritual beings in this condition feel for everybody in the universe. Whether they know them or not. Whether they have just met them or not. So, if they have to donate a kidney to save somebody, even though they don't know that person, they will. If they have to donate organs or donate whatever it is, money or anything, to save someone else, they will. That's why in planets, orbs, these spirits live, there is no suffering. Because there is constant and complete help amongst them. Complete. Nobody suffers. Nobody is hungry. Nobody has no money. Everybody is helping each other completely and absolutely, because they completely and absolutely practice this power that is within them, the power of love. Jesus not only practiced this, but He gave us a message that was very powerful. And a lot of people don't really understand this message, even today, because He told us, I'm doing this, and you can do it too. But He didn't just say that. He didn't just say, you can do it too. He said something that was more shocking even. What did He say? You can do more than I do. And when we think back, He said this 2,000 years ago. 2014, right? So way back then, He was already telling us, you can do more than I do. Why would He say that? If He's so advanced in evolution, why would He say that? We'll go back to that. From Jesus on, and of course, there's many other individuals that come and help us with messages, revelations, and we're just concentrating on the biggest ones. We're going to jump in time a little bit now. A lot did not happen as far as spiritual evolution in between Jesus and where we're going, especially because of the Middle Ages, where we, spiritual beings reincarnated, decided to completely forget about all of these things and completely dedicate ourselves into the material world. So not much spiritual evolution took place then. We'll jump ahead into the 1700s, where a man, a bright, very bright mind of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, reincarnates, and for the first time, a very well-known person, philosopher, musician, begins talking about the necessity for all of us to feel as the same, to all of us to understand that all of us is as important as the next person. Now, when he started talking about that, people didn't like it very much, especially kings and queens and everybody that served coffee to monarchs. They didn't like it very much. Right? When you start telling me that I'm the same as everybody else, well, that means I can't really have a castle, or I can't really just kill whoever I want, and I can't do all the things that I want to do because everybody else is the same as me, is as important as me. So he took a lot of pressure because of that. Now, Rousseau didn't really care about people talked about him. So he wrote this wonderful book. In this book, The Social Contract of Rousseau, served as inspiration to many revolutions around the world, including it was read by many who began the revolution to free America. Because the social contract pretty much said, what we need to have around the world is democracies. All this monarchy and all these people who want to be dictators, all these things are craziness because we're all the same. And we will only find happiness when we begin to respect the power within every single individual. That is when we will be able to create a society that is based on love and find happiness. Now, why do we talk about Rousseau really? Because there are others who brought kind of like the same message. But we concentrate on Rousseau because he was the person who inspired this individual who was born like 20 or 30 years after him, called Pestalozzi. Was passionate about Rousseau's ideas. And he decided as a very young man, 22 years old, that he needed very much to divulge Rousseau's ideas, but he decided to do that to kids and not adults. So he formed an orphanage where he started teaching these ideas to very young kids, and very young and poor kids in this orphanage. The biography of Pestalozzi is something really unbelievable, and we all should read it. First of all, there's one self-biography, and it's just wonderful. Now, we're going to go through that really quick, because it's a long life and a long biography. Basically, Pestalozzi was the inventor of modern education. Pestalozzi is the one that came up with the idea that each kid in a classroom is a different and an important individual and should be catered to according to his needs. Wow, what a thought, huh? He also came up with the idea that a classroom would be more interested in learning if they didn't only listen to a speaker or a teacher, if they only didn't read what was on the board in front of them, if they only didn't read from a book. So he was the first person to take the classroom out of the classroom. If he wanted to teach biology, he would go out and talk about biology while showing nature to his classrooms. He also was the first one to divide up the classroom into groups because he believed so much in the power of each individual that he wanted to feed their build up of creativeness. So he gave each group an assignment, a project, and let them come and present their findings and their decisions to the rest of the classroom. Pestalozzi's methods were so important that they took over most of Europe back then. They were also utilized, and we can find this in the Department of Affairs of Indians, in the United States Department of Affairs of Indians, Indian Affairs, where they utilized his method object to teach the Navajo Indians English. The method object was made up of a sandbox where he built and brought it to the classroom. And in that sandbox, he placed many objects, a horse, a home, and so on and so forth. And they would then utilize that to show the Indians the object and then tell them the name of the object in English and in Navajo. So that's how they began to learn English. What a thought, huh? So all these things seem very primitive to us, but even parents and teachers associations that we go to every day of our lives, Pestalozzi was the one who came up with that because he truly believed in the involvement of family in the education of children. So he was the only one to open up his doors as an educator to a father and a mother who would sit down with their kids to understand better what their kids' education needed to be. Pestalozzi. Why is Pestalozzi so important to us? Because not only he founded 2 orphanages where he took care and educated poor kids, but he also founded a very important place, which was the Yverdon. What was it? I forgot. Switzerland. Yverdon, what was that again? Institute of the Pestalozzian Institute of Education in Yverdon. Okay, thank you, Fernando. So in Yverdon, he now began teaching rich kids. First of all, he received that castle as a donation from somebody who was very rich and truly believed in his methods. So in Yverdon, he started teaching rich kids with his same methods. After some time, he decides to do this wonderful experience regarding education. He decided that, maybe if I mix classes, economic classes, maybe they will learn even more. They will progress even more as far as human beings goes. And he begins bringing kids from one of his orphanages into Yverdon, the Yverdon Institute. And guess what? A lot of the parents of rich kids who were there didn't like that very much. Some of them pulled their kids out. And the ones that left their kids in, later on, within a short time, began to notice a difference in the knowledge of their kids, in the understanding of their kids regarding sciences and humanity. So that experience worked really well. Within the midst of this experiment, a young boy who was who? Huh? Who was? Somebody was saying the right name. Hippolyte, Denizar, Ivail. Hey, it's a French name, man. It's a French name, so I don't even know how to say it right. We just abbreviate it, right? This young boy who is 11 years old is admitted to the Yverdon Institute to study and to learn Pestalozzi's method. Tony is going to pass around a dialogue that is found in the book Gabi and Kardec. Gabi was Allan Kardec's wife. This is just 1/5 of the whole dialogue found in this book that was channeled by Roque Jacinto. And in this dialogue, we see the encounter or the re-encounter of beings who already know themselves and love themselves very much. John, can you read that for us, please? Okay.
Raphael was now present before Pestalozzi. Looking at his gray hair and almost 70 years of age, dedicated to charity and education, he felt stunned before those vibrant and energetic eyes. Meanwhile, Pestalozzi looked at him tenderly. Raphael, asked Pestalozzi, have you come from France, young man? Raphael, yes, I've come from France to look from the education that originated within these walls. Strangely, somehow you look so familiar to me. Pestalozzi replied, I too have the strange feeling of having met you before. After a long pause between both of them, Pestalozzi continued, what is it that you want to achieve, Raphael? Raphael, sir, I search for just and correct answers to the solutions of problems related to nowadays educational systems. Pestalozzi, at that age, Raphael, you are already looking for problems humanity itself still has not been able to solve? Raphael, yes, Professor, I need to find those answers in order to contribute to the development of a better world. Pestalozzi, Raphael, you are a revival to all of my deepest aspirations. I sense in you a compassionate spirit.
The dialogue, again, is a lot longer than that, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful dialogue. But we can pretty much see with those excerpts that these two had in mind exactly the same thing. To divulge to all, to educate all, and to divulge to all the importance of their individual and inner powers and ability. Raphael goes on to become, or to name himself, as Allan Kardec. And Allan Kardec codified, he didn't write, he didn't come up with, he didn't create it, he codified Spiritism, which, by the way, it is the first of all knowledge, religious creeds, philosophies, sciences, that is not created by only one individual, that is not disseminated by only one individual. The authority of Spiritism is the universality of its teachings. It doesn't come from one individual. It comes from many spirits who channel, who gives us communications through many mediums, who are working in many, and still work today, many different Spiritist groups from many different countries. So that is the authority, the power in the Spiritist message. But all of these spirits, who a lot of them are here, who came back to help us out once more, brought pretty much the same message they had always been bringing us. And they divided this message into 5 basic principles. They pretty much brought this whole message of inner power in detail, in a very simple way, so we could follow and understand. Based on the concept, on the biggest concept, and the whole concept of consolation. So, as we read the message, as we study the 5 principles, we are also consoled. And what are these 5 principles? Anybody remembers? I know you guys are just nervous. How does the Spirit's book begins? How does it begin?
Introduction.
Existence of God. It begins by Kardec asking, who? Is that correct?
What?
What? Thank
What
you.
is God?
Who? What is God? That's important to remember. Because God is not a who. Existence of God. What is another principle? What do we do in the Spiritist Center? Constantly. Communication with spirits. Right. What is another one?
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. How is that put to us? How is that written to us? The plurality of existences. What else?
Out of charity, there's no salvation.
That too. Okay, is within one of these principles. You were saying?
There is life in other planets.
Life in other... Okay, so it is the plurality of inhabited worlds. Every single world out there is inhabited. 3, and last. Anybody remember? That's one is usually the most difficult, right? We don't die. Death is just... Thank you. It's just an imagination. Immortality of the soul. When we go through each one of these principles, what we notice is they not only empower us, but they console us. When we begin to study about what God really is and not who God is, we begin to understand that He is all knowledge and all love. So we no longer think about the God that will punish us. We no longer think about the God that created hell, because hell doesn't exist. It was never created. It is all in our minds. We no longer think about God who makes us suffer, because we only suffer when we don't believe in our inner power, when we do not follow divine laws, like traffic laws. If we speed too much, we'll get a ticket. We got a ticket because we were running too much, speeding too much. When we talk about the communication of the spirits, it is a consoling factor, because they come and they help us and they remind us of great things, and they show us, keep on showing us the path we should follow. And spirits that we have known here on earth, they discarnate, they come and they talk to us, and we feel them, and we know they're still alive. Another consoling factor. The immortality of the soul. We don't die. What does that mean? That means we have all the time in the world to do everything that we want to do. All the time. We have eternity to do what we want to do. We don't need to be anxious about anything. Plurality of inhabited worlds. We will not always live in a planet like this, because worlds progress. And as we study the Gospel according to Spiritism, Kardec divides the progression of worlds into 5. We're only in the 2nd level, going on to the 3rd. So one day we will live in worlds that only exist peace, that only exist health and happiness, and so on and so forth. Plurality of existences, reincarnation, new chances always. No matter what we do, no matter how criminal it is, the actions that we do, that we take, we will have new chances. Yes, our actions will mean suffering, but we will have new chances to repent our actions. Because God always has His arms open to His kids in creation that He loves. So, it's all about consolation. It's all about education. When Jesus told us that we can do what He did, and much more, He meant that we are spirits just like Him. Just like He was, just like He is. And we are all powerful individuals. We are full of virtues within us. That is where our power really comes from. What are some virtues we can think about? What are some virtues? Good things that we have, that we can do, we can practice?
Compassion?
Compassion. What else?
Benevolence.
Forgiveness?
Patience. Forgiveness. Oh, now people are doing escapes. All right. Took some time there again. All of these virtues are who we are. This is how we were created. With all of this stuff, all of this power within us. The problem is, we don't release this power. And that's what he was talking about. The day we believe and the day we begin to release and to practice, we will be happy and very powerful. We will then be able to move mountains, because mountains are just a pile of energy. And energy is moved by the power of the Spirit, the power of thought. So, if I want to practice this love, I need to practice these virtues. And there are many others. Joanna de Angelis describes to us 22 different virtues. And she even tells us that there are virtues we don't even know they exist yet, because we're not that progressed. If we pick, for example, patience. Are we patient individuals? Who here is patient? Please raise your hand. Nobody.
A little bit sometimes.
A little bit? Sometimes? More or less? Okay. Okay, it's getting better. It's getting better. Because if we look at this, at some point or another, we are all practicing these virtues. The problem is, we choose when to practice it, and to whom we practice them. Because if I'm at work, alright, let's come down to earth a little bit. If I'm at work and it's Friday and I'm finishing my week and it's 4:45 in the afternoon, I'm supposed to leave at 5 o'clock for happy hour at where do we go today? Tex-Mex. We went to Tex-Mex today. So happy hour, and we're like, ooh man, I'm 15 minutes away, you know? And my boss comes over. He's like Fernandinho's boss. So he comes over and he's like, listen my friend, I got a little bit of work for you here. And listen, I'm sorry, Brad, I gotta have this by Monday morning, you know? It's only gonna take, well, like a couple of hours. And you know it's gonna take more than that. But we look at this pile of paper and work. What do? Do we practice patience or not? Do we practice? Practice, not forgiveness, right? Most of us would practice patience, and we would smile and say, no problem. I'll take care of it. Right? So, alright, so now we told that to our boss, and it took us like 5 hours to finish the work. Now we're really ticked off, okay? And 5 hours puts us at what? I don't know, 10 o'clock, so more or less. Now it's 10 p.m. and we're driving home, we're happy. Okay, I missed the happy hour, but tomorrow's Saturday, there's another happy hour coming up. Our phone rings, and the wife is calling, or the husband. And the wife or the husband says, can you please pull up by the gas station and bring me a gallon of milk? Do we exercise patience then or not? Some would, some not. Right? So, all these virtues are within us. They're there, we can use them at any time. And this is what he was talking about. You can do, I'm practicing it. You can do it too, and if you do more than I do, practice even more. You can do more than I do. That's why the Spirit's book tells us, spirits progress according to the efforts they put into progressing. They find happiness sooner or later according to their own wish. Because it's all about we deciding to utilize this power that is within us. So the less we choose to whether we're going to be compassionate or benevolent or not, the happier we're going to be and the more powerful we're going to be, the more physically healthy we're going to be, the more mentally healthy we're going to be. This is a message that they keep on trying to tell us over and over again. And the reason why we're here today in the year 2014 is because we have chosen not to listen yet. Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Is there any question for Mauricio about that? About this powerful message. Okay, Mauricio.
This is the worst part. Easy to talk.
Be patient.
So I find that, I try to do that sometimes during the day. But I also feel like there are people that sometimes abuse the fact that you say yes to everything and you're, willing to help all the time. So how do you balance that?
When Jesus said, you turn the other cheek, he didn't mean just keep on turning, right? Because we know we live in a world where there's still a lot of people who are way down there as far as the spiritual evolution goes. And they will take advantage. And there's also major political even debates about that. How do we help people who need help? How much do we give them when they need help? Because people abuse of help, right? So we just have to use our own guts and find out, how much is that people taking advantage of me or not. Just use our guts, and through relationships and experiences, we begin to sense when people is taking advantage of us. And we shouldn't really do that, because if we keep on just helping the individual who's not starting this process of evolution, we are really helping them to stay in that spiritual stagnation. Just like when we talk about people who are economic disadvantage. Now you can help them start up something within their economic life, but we can't just keep on feeding them money or whatever it is, because otherwise they will always be in that position. So in other words, we'll give people the we'll help them with teaching them to feed fish, but we're not just giving them the fish, right? So that's how it is. That's how it should be. Because a lot of people think that because we're Christians, because we're Spiritists, we're stupid, and that's not the way it should be, right?
Yeah, and many times I've had people that know I'm a Spiritist, and then when I say no, oh, that's not what Spiritists do.
That is why,
You
even in
know, you're not
Brazil,
behaving like a Spiritist. You
Yeah.
know?
in Brazil, there's a lot of most Spiritist centers have departments that help the community socially and so on and so forth. I participate in that all throughout my young life, and you have to understand that you can't just keep on giving people food, and we usually helped a lot of people with food, poor people. Now we made them come and listen to a message and be educated spiritually, and created schools and so on and so forth for them, so they could get out of that situation. And so that goes for materialistic speaking and spiritually speaking too. The Spiritist Center, we see a lot of people coming in here, and they come here over the months, over the years, and they never change. They come here to get passes, fluidic therapy, and all the services that we provide here, but they never change. You know, the years go by, and they keep on asking for help. So there's a point that you can say, no, wait a second. You have to put some effort into changing yourself. And that is why Spiritism is not a doctrine for the masses. It's not a thought for the masses, because it's difficult. We're not gonna, anytime soon fill up a stadium with 70,000 people to listen to something like this, because it's very difficult, it's very intimate. You really have to change yourselves, because this stuff keeps on coming at you all the time. Every time you sit here, it keeps on coming at you, right? That's it. Thank you.